Oh, well, it is Thursday night, and it is the 12th of March, and we are live on UCY.tv. It is the Ochelli Effect. I'm your host, Chuck Ochelli. How are you tonight? It's going to be a strange show. We're not going to be real serious. Got an actual comedian coming on. Now, I know what a lot of the people in the chat room are going to say. His name is Reverend Bob Levy. Okay. So get it out of your systems now. All right. Anyway, Bob is a pretty interesting guy. I want to thank everybody for tuning in because this is also one of those shows done by request. See, my thoughts are all scattered everywhere. And somebody probably just heard a baby boy screeching a little bit. But my thoughts are scattered everywhere at the moment, so let me get all my housekeeping duties out of the way. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you've gone to ucy.tv/TOE or you have decided to utilize your final slab of choice and hit me up on one of those applications. Appreciate all that. Tonight is going to be one of those looser nights, although I do want to get an idea of, somebody who's out there doing the comedic thing. I said before I wanted to get different comedians on, so Reverend Bob Levy is going to be an interesting guy. Anyway, it ought to be fun. What has gone on, though, recently? Let me tell you, another shooting, right? Am I going to cover that today? No. Am I going to bother with the Hitler's emails? No. Personally, I think that's one of the most irrelevant, stupid possible things you could even begin to waste your airtime with, because all you're doing is being distracted by the meat puppets and how they happen to play with their particular electronic gadgets, and all it is pointing the fingers of blame about how dare you keep things private when you're supposed to be working for the government. And if you think that there aren't all sorts of stories like this out there, or if you think that there's going to be the discovery of anything of actual significance here, unless it is fully intended and set up to be that way, then I've got to tell you, people, you need to get your oil checked on that skull. It ain't working. It ain't working. Hillary, who cares? Another stalking horse appearing to set up the next Bush presidency because, well, it's Jebby's turn, isn't it? And if not him, it really doesn't matter. Shuffle the deck, insert another neocon space. That'll be who takes Obama's place. As if that's really significant in your everyday life. Man, oh man. One of these days, people are going to figure it out. One of these days. And if I get caught in one of these circular arguments again about the food, the water, and the poison and everything else around us, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Although I am having discussions in between major battles with Kim about possibly moving to Montana. But that's a story for another show, isn't it? At any rate, what else do we have on the agenda? You know, I had some clips that I was going to pull together here, but time did run out on me as per usual, and didn't get the things together I wanted to get together. But anyway, back to the freestyle just for a minute because I just spoke to Bob right before I went to air, and I was kind of tied up with other things trying to type and talk at the same time. And, you know, much like they said about Gerald Ford, it is difficult for that guy to urinate and chew gum at the same time. Although I can urinate and do a lot of things at the same time, I promise you. Okay. Anyway. Let us see if we can get... yeah, see, my clock says that. All right. Let's just check on something else really quickly, huh? And I really hope that my friend Brian... Oh, that's another thing. I am going to take phone calls during this show. I'd like to give the guest the first half hour to talk, but then free for all and everybody get good and wound up. I'm sure you're going to be pissed, and you're going to have a lot of different things that you really, really want to say to this guest. Not because of a particular political bent or anything like that, but because I've never actually had a guest of this sort on my show before. So, have at it. I do have the phone lines, 718-717-8296, in case you can't remember, 718-717-8296, and another guy out of that Jersey, New York area. So, like I said before, it ought to be fun. Oh, buddy. Well, anyway, let's see if he is ready, because, as I said before, you know, a little bit haphazard walking into here like the Tasmanian devil, you know, with a speech impediment. That's how I feel tonight. Well, you know, the Tasmanian devil wasn't quite blind, though. There were 3 mice that were kind of like that. Man, oh man. Anyhow, you know, I wish I knew how to get to these little messages that I'm being given. All right. Yeah, everybody hang on with the questions in Skype, dude. I don't want to take printed questions. Really, this is going to be a show where I'm not going to take the Skyped in questions. Okay, so I don't even have them on yet, and I'm not going to read these. I'm just not. You got to call in. You got to face the music. Okay, no more. 718-717-8296 if you have to use your phone. Otherwise, you are on my Skype list, and if you're not on my Skype list and you're listening, Charles.Ochelli. You should know how to spell Charles if you don't. Charles, a little dot. And then Ochelli is spelled Ochelli. Contact request me no matter who you are. I'll add you. I won't guarantee you I'll keep you, but I will add you. Of course, I keep getting these flirtatious, you know, I'm 19 years old and my daddy's not home, Skype contacts. I don't know what that's all about. I wonder if anybody else is getting those, or maybe I'm just a target for some reason. I don't engage them very long. I just kind of go, what, are you contacting me about the radio show? You know, are you a long-lost relative? Who are you? And then I get... Oh, I'm horny, and I'm in this particular place, and my daddy's not home, and I'm 19. And, you know, don't know why that happens, folks. Really don't. Anyway, let's see if Mr. Levy is available. Oh, did we add? Internet connection problem. All right, well, hopefully I'm still broadcasting. I'm trying here. It's always a struggle with the Skype, isn't it? Always a struggle with this Skype. Let's see if it works. And I'll tell you something else. I turned down yet another one of those Skype updates. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Hey, Bob Levy. You know, how you doing, man? I was explaining to people that I've never quite had a guest like you on my show. And I'm happy. I've had a couple of stand-up comedians. But, you know, Well, I won't talk about what separates them from you, but
I do it all, baby. I don't do just stand-up. I do everything.
well, see,
Yeah.
that's the thing is you are an entertainer in general too. And a lot of people have seen you on various projects. I mean, I'll let you discuss your projects as we go through here, but man, oh man, you actually do a lot of different things. And again, another guy from that northeast quadrant, which I hail from as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which gives me the odd attitude and everything else. I mean, people say, "Why you're from North Carolina? You don't sound like you're from there, boy." No, no, I don't.
But it's cool there, man. I lived in South Carolina for about maybe 8 months or so, but it's cool.
It's a different atmosphere here for sure because the people just it's more laid back, and I mean,
Well, if laid back is racist, yeah, it is. No. I mean, South Carolina was weird to me because I was doing radio out there, and it was basically, I said, yeah, the black guy that works with us that sells is going to come. He's going to bring 40 people to a strip club. And he goes, Bob, you got to talk to me before. We don't want to be known as that kind of club. And I was like, dude, this guy's whiter than I am. And it was just shocking, you know?
yeah, but that aside, I mean, well, see, I'm in a weird space, man. I actually am in a neighborhood where there is me, and then there's an 85-year-old white guy, and everybody else is not white. Let's put it that way.
Hey, as long as they're cool, it doesn't matter what they are. That's the way I look. I judge people how they fucking treat me and how I treat them that way. You know, if they're going to be an asshole, you're going to be treated like an asshole.
Oh,
That's
no.
how I do it.
Well, I'm with you. I mean, when we moved here, I didn't even give it a thought. But it is strange, though, because, people segregate themselves, and that's one of the things they do, automatically. But to be honest with you, in North Carolina, I'm not seeing the harsh racism.
No, not as far as south, but you probably moved in at night. That's why you didn't see him on the block.
Yeah, that would account for part of it. Definitely.
No, but definitely, like, you know what I mean? In the business world, it was weird to me, and I just told my wife, I don't want to be around these people. I just felt uncomfortable that they would just think that this guy was, like, from the hood or whatever the fuck. And basically, I'm telling you, you wouldn't, if you talked to him on the phone, you would think he was white.
Mm. No, I hear you. And to be honest with you, sometimes the southern drawl down here is so convoluted that it is a lot harder to tell the race of the person you're talking to on the phone. The first job that I got when I came down here, I swear that I absolutely envisioned a black dude that I was going to go do a job interview with, right? It was a guarantee in my mind because he just sounded that way. And, of course, I'm the one who's talking funny around here, So I said to one of my coworkers after I got the job for a little while, I said to him, I said, this might sound crazy to you, man, but, when I was just talking to him on the phone, I thought he was black.
Yeah.
And the guy looked at me and he said, yep, me too. I said, all right, it's not just me.
No, does he know? Like, my wife wants to, like, she liked it there. You know what I mean? It is a beautiful place. We were in Greenville in the best section, and but I definitely see us. She wants to move. Like I would definitely go to North Carolina. But we're definitely going to make that move in a couple of years. I think.
Well, a lot cheaper here, man. And there's a Greenville here now. You and I say Greenville.
Mm-hmm.
But they say Greenville, Greenville, like that. But, hey, it is what it is. But I got to tell you, the one thing that is really noticeable to me is not, necessarily the racial divide, because I see that everywhere. But the thing, that, like, there is that lack of intensity, man. There is, like, an intensity cloud that hangs over the Northeast.
Oh, yeah. But over there, they hide it. Do you understand? There's a difference. It seems like everyone gets along out there. That's the way I looked at it at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, what the fuck is going on, So, I mean, here, people speak out. They fucking do what the fuck they want, They think they can shoot cops and that shit,
Oh yeah, well, of course, you know the high intensity areas, and I blame that a lot on the high intensity, the high tension power lines that are over your head in a lot of places, especially in Jersey. Again, where I was born and raised, so I have the right to say this, but you
Yeah,
know,
it's basically the media makes it into something, and of course, without the media, nothing would really happen. You put a camera in front of anybody, something's going to happen. That's just the way. You ever see a news guy out there and somebody will go by and yell, "Suck my dick," and keep running? It's just something that happens. That's you put a camera there, someone's going to act like an asshole, and you can't do that when there's a thing between races and cops and shit. You can't. You just fucking let them. Why do you got to be there? We know you can write about it in the paper tomorrow. Fucking assholes.
yep, guaranteed. And yeah, just so, and I'm sure a couple of people have noticed already. Yeah, that's right. Normally, I do sort of have a moratorium on the language, but Bob Levy's a little different.
Well,
We're,
I don't have to curse, but
no, you don't have to, but brother, man, I don't care at tonight. This is like this is my and here we go. Ready, everybody.
yeah.
This is my fuck it night, and I don't usually use the F bomb on the air, but man, boom, there it
Hey,
is.
listen, I don't want to fucking upset anybody, me. But the whole thing is like I don't have to curse. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I don't want to upset anybody. That's my thing.
No, you're not going to upset any. Well, you might upset people, but you know what?
No, I don't need to curse.
Cursing is not how you're going to upset them. Don't worry about it.
Because I've done regular radio forever, and I've never been bleeped or dumped, because I know how to do it, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, and I've done stuff like that too, where I've been on some of the broadcast shows, and generally I'm I'm a weird guy. I mean, you don't really know me, and again I want to thank Brian Nadish for making the suggestion to bring you on,
Mm-hmm.
because you were one of the guys that I would have never thought of, because I'm often locked into historical research and news stories and
Cool.
and conspiracy stuff. I mean, and we're going to get into that a little bit, because I would love to hear your views on this stuff. I always love to hear something
Yeah.
sort of outside of the, you know how it is, like in media, there's sort of like cliques, especially in the independent media of individuals. And I mean, I'm definitely one of those fringe people who is, more about, pointing out what's screwed up in the world and why it is, and the larger conspiracy is the reality as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not saying that you got to agree with that to come on here and talk to me, but most of the time, that's what I end up with,
Yeah, I mean, I tell the facts from my side. I speak my mind. I don't give a shit if you do not agree with me. It's my opinion, and if you don't like it, suck my dick. It's as simple as that. That's how I live my life.
Point blank, that's it. And I do keep saying you're a stand-up comedian, but man, you do a lot of other things too.
Yeah, I just have fun, man. Got a kid. He's playing in a band. I take him to band practice. They're fucking kicking ass, and hopefully, we'll get to do a little tour out there with them. Do a little comedy, a little music, little rock, real rock, not like this shit today. We're talking about Zeppelin, who they got like 11 original songs. We're gonna hit the studio soon, so it's really cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't hear too many people mentioning the Who anymore when it comes to musical influences. Zeppelin's one of those things that's come to disappoint me over the years, because I was a musician for some years too.
Me
And
too.
the reason why I became disappointed is, I learned after a while exactly how they ripped off a lot of people wholesale. Musicians are generally thieves anyway. I mean, they nothing is really original. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I mean, but the whole thing is like, I don't know if they were given the okay on some of the songs. Like, I know that I've heard it when I was on Opie and Anthony. We played it a while ago, and it's totally the song, and but when you look into their real music, that they are talented motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They just kind of copied. They copied maybe 5 songs, totally sold. But the other shit, I think they paid for it after a while. But the other stuff is just brilliant. If you listen to every one of their albums, it's just fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, and especially in the studio. I mean, there is some serious craftsmanship that goes into the stuff they did in the studios.
Yeah, but live is like you go see them live, and if you want, like most people want to hear the album. When you see Zeppelin, you are not going to hear the album. You're not even close. You know, they'll go off on something totally whack for like fucking 10 minutes. They don't care.
Right, and you know, I'm a huge Black Sabbath fan.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I love those guys, and I have been so grateful that you know, in recent years we've been able to see them come back together finally with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm good friends with Rudy Sarzo. He played with Randy Rhoads. They handpicked him to be with Ozzy because, you know, Randy's like a real cool dude, real down to earth, doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, been married to the same woman his whole life, never cheated on it. And he goes, this is someone you need around you. And that's when they did the Blizzard of Oz. You can go on rudysarzo.com and pick up the book. I think it's called Blizzard of Oz.
Well, Rudy Sarzo knew Randy from being in Quiet Riot because you know, they were originally in Quiet Riot together when they did those first couple albums that weren't really commercially successful in the United States. You know, but you know, did actually contain. And if you listen to those albums, you know, you don't exactly hear Randy Rhoads coming to the surface either. Because again, I'm a huge Ozzy fan, so I know way too much about this.
Well, that's what you know what it is. You sometimes, like my son's in a 3-piece band, so I said, you know what I mean. You can't go crazy all the time because he's into Entwistle, so he's doing crazy shit all the time. And I said, when Billy's doing the lead, you got to keep the tone of the song with the drummer. You can't just fucking go off and, you know, go nuts. So it's a whole different game when you have, you know, just 3 people.
Well, right. You gotta keep it tighter, especially, you know, the less people you got, the more you gotta, you know, and Rudy was great for that too. I mean, not just with Blizzard of Oz, but I mean the stuff he was doing with Quiet Riot.
Good.
I mean, was really cool. Plus, I think he did a stint in Whitesnake at one point, and
Dio. He did, like, you know what I mean. What people always say? Oh, the bass player is a failed guitarist, and you know, I used to play the bass, and then my son plays the bass. But the whole thing is if you are a great bass player, you will always have work. Everyone's going to be looking for you. You know.
Yeah, and it's one of those, and it's usually the missing element. Every time I put together, you know, because I've done everything from like punk bands to, you know, to serious metal. Like I've done like death metal bands. I've done, you know, I've also done blues and jazz and you know, pop rock kind of, all that stuff I did over the years. But the thing is, one of the missing elements all the time is 2 things. One, a drummer who's more than just a timekeeper, and 2 is a bass player that's really good. A good bass player, they don't just, you know, there's a lot of good guitarists, even in a local scene. But good bass players, not as easy to find.
Yeah, see, that's why they put together, you know what I mean? It's basically, if you look up Billy the Kid Doden, he's 14 years old, probably one of the best guitar players you'll ever see. He was discovered by Jimi Hendrix bass player. I forget his name now, but he still plays with him, and he's the only surviving member. So, you know, he's got influence by Jimmy on their original song that they do. Is total, you know, you can tell it's got a Jimmy sound to it, and you know, the kid plays behind his back, you know, over his shoulders like Jimmy. And he's amazing, and you can't, like, the drummer's 12, my son just turned 16, and I've never seen a band, like, you know what I mean, like the videos you'll see are from when they first started, or when Billy, you know, a couple of years ago, but what I'm seeing now, we already got a record producer, you know, they're on their way, you know, because they're bringing, you know, their thing is to bring back rock the way it was. Like, you know, like Zeppelin and The Who and Ozzy, and put all that together, you know? Yeah,
really like more of what was more more accurately described as a heavily blues influenced.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. They got some blues songs, original ones, and that are amazing. But it's basically like the rock that has the lead in it. You don't hear the lead guitars anymore in songs, and I think that's what needs to come back because then it'll make a change. Because the music, like this Justin Timberlake shit. I mean, come on, give me a fucking break. I
well,
can't
look,
do it.
be honest, man. There's always like a mainstream crap fest that's going on in music in general. I mean, people remember, the '90s, and they, when they're talking about gritty stuff, they wind up talking about, Kurt Cobain, which, at the time before he was sort of deified at the time of his death,
Mhm.
wasn't being taken quite as seriously as he was, post mortem. All right.
Right.
But they remember the Seattle scene and all that, but they forget about all the garbage that was going on at that time too.
That was the worst. That you know what I mean? To me, that time ruined music. Okay, if you look at it now, the best thing, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but the best thing was that he died because of the fact the Foo Fighters came out of it, and they really are somebody that's amazing right now, and
Right.
they have talent. But I didn't like that kind of. I didn't. I don't like Pearl Jam. I didn't like anything like that. Put your flannel shirt away and get a fucking day job.
Now, if I wanted to listen to a Seattle band, I would listen to Alice in Chains. Now, that was a good band.
Yeah, I mean, so there was a couple, but I mean, them right there, it just fucking music kind of took a, hey, I'll just fucking listen to what I like to listen to. I got my AC/DC, I got my Sabbath, I got Who, I got some Queen when they were not a sellout. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Stuff like that, Zeppelin, all that stuff.
right. And of course, and I'm going to mention this, but I don't want to linger on it too long. Of course, you've been on the Howard Stern show a lot of times as well.
Yeah, I was there for like 8 years.
Mm,
Yeah. We had
yeah,
a little bit of falling out, I would say. And it wasn't even me and him. That's the whole thing. It started with like Tim Sabian, who was running the channels, and the guy that was with him, I forget his name, and the little douchebag, and and they started, they wouldn't let me go on O&A. They said you can't go on both shows, and I said, all right, I quit, and. It was just, it was run. I'm one of those guys that when I'm done, you know what I mean? If they don't want to creatively move on and stop doing the same shit, it's time for me to just go into a place where I can just be me. And they wouldn't allow it. And then at the end, I ended up somehow being banned from the building for attacking 4 security guards, which never happened. And then it went from there. Then it went to me not being able to get called back, and it went to me going back to the way I grew up, and I went on my camera thing and threatened to kill him. So, what am I going to do?
Hey, what can you do, man?
Hey, look, I would think that somebody would call me. If somebody threatened to kill me, I would call them up and say, what's going on,
Yeah,
I wouldn't send the NYPD to his house, and I wouldn't have the FBI involved. I mean, you know me for fucking 8 years. If I wouldn't go on fucking air and say something if I was going to do something.
Well, right. I mean, that would be just about the dumbest possible thing you could do.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like saying, please put me in jail and make sure I can't accomplish it. I mean, if you're dead serious about hurting somebody, first of all, you're not going to announce it on the air, to a million listeners. I mean,
I can do it. You know what I mean? I could have just done it. You know what I mean? Who the fuck's going to stop me? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense, and it just pissed me off that he never got to really hear the real story that happened. And I don't want to go on a show. I would like to, like I said on Twitter today, I would love to just, tell him the story, shake his hand at the end, and thank him for the time, and that's it. And then, I would feel good. But I do have anger in me because I don't like to be fucked with.
Mm. And speaking of Opie and Anthony too, that's an interesting set of things that has gone on with those guys, right? Were you around them when they got kicked off of terrestrial radio, or was that afterwards?
No, I've been always friends with them, and Jim Norton was, I found him. He used to come to my comedy shows, and I took him on the road with me and all that shit. So I've known him forever, him and Florentine,
Wow.
So I mean, you know, I was loyal to being on the one show, and when it got to the same shit over and over, like he didn't care anymore, and I wasn't allowed to say certain shit on my show. I had to show Miserable Men on Sundays, which was huge.
Yeah, that show was great, and that was on one of the Howard channels too.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, but I was not allowed to go at like if another show said something about us, we were not allowed to attack, and we did, and they would cry to Tim, and I nobody's gonna beat me on a mic, okay?
gotcha.
Because
Well, the
I've been doing comedy.
politics. It,
It's bullshit. The radio is the worst fucking bit. When people, even Howard said it's the worst fucking business you can be in. It's run by idiots. You know what I mean? I wish somebody could buy me a station, and I would put together the best fucking lineup ever. Because I watch. One thing I learned from doing radio is that, and we're doing anything. I watch from the front to the back and see how everything is run. And that's why I know what the fans want. That's why we do our podcast. We don't even call it a podcast. We call it a radio show because, we do 4 days a week. We do like an hour and a half and an hour and 40 a show, and right away, boom, we're up to number 8 out of, and we just started. We're up to our 19th show is up tonight, but it's the whole thing you have to watch and see. And it's like you're like, how the fuck did this guy get a job? Really, and it's a business that is you one day you can just be, oh no, we're going to switch formats. That's what happened to me in Albany. They switched all formats, and I'm like, motherfuckers. And one guy said to me, I got along good with him, but he goes, I really thought you were going to throw the desk over on me when I told you, because they bring you into the office and then they walk you out. And I said, dude, it's nothing against you. It's stupidity. I mean, when you have your afternoon guy as a program director and then you have a sales lady moved up to the total programming, please. I mean, come on. You don't do that. That's not how it works, You fucking get professionals. You don't just save a little money and put somebody, give them a little power that doesn't know anything about radio. I mean, we were killing in Albany. The people going nuts. Everywhere we went, they were going nuts. It was the great. People were canceling Sirius XM because we were up there. Because when I went up there, I took over the show basically. They let me write. Whatever I wanted to do, boom. He let me do what I wanted to do, and he told me, he goes, you say whatever you want to say. It's yours and my show. And it got to the point where I was writing the show. And I had it on the board, what we were going to do. Every morning I got there early, because I take shit seriously. If you're not going to do something, don't do it half-ass. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, exactly. And and just as a quick aside, Florentine is a guy that I've been pursuing to try and get on this show because I love what he does.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. Just hit him up on Facebook or I guess Facebook's the better way to inbox somebody, right? And I'll tell him that you're going to get hit up by somebody, but he'll come on. I mean, he's a great guy. I've known him for fucking 25 years.
And for listeners, in case you don't know who Jim Florentine is, because you should know, and actually you will know when I describe this. If you guys remember the Crank Yanker show years ago, and you remember the puppet that would go, "I got mail, yay!"
Hey, yeah,
that's Jim Florentine, man.
And he's on that metal show with Don Jameson and Eddie Chung, and he's just a great guy, man. And everyone knows who,
Right, and a quick plug too is that he does a podcast called Comedy Metal Midgets, which again is one of those things that's actually in my rotation. See, guys, I don't just all listen to politics and everything. I'm actually kind of a connoisseur of comedy too,
Yeah, he's got a great one too. Like, but it's a great way to do it. It's the new thing, and yeah, I love it. Because I had somebody when I was doing radio in Boston and Washington and whatever else, the other 6 markets, they built me a studio. And then they kind of fell behind in the money, and I kind of said, hey, forget about it. You know what I mean?
No, I know, and and I was really hoping that we could get on this a little bit because you've seen this evolve, and been in the business while it was evolving. And nowadays, I mean, I'm a completely independent, broadcaster. I mean, I have a network, sure, but my network has no say in what I do. I just I show up, and whatever it is I decide to broadcast, I do.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm on a Florida station too. My producers are going wild. It's fucking garbage days. Every douchebag's taking in their garbage. I don't know how people got 6 garbage cans out. I mean, I didn't even put my garbage out. There's 2 of us here. I didn't even put it out. There's not enough garbage. People have fucking 8 cans out. What the fuck are you doing in that house?
You know what it is some people are so wasteful and everything, man. It's crazy. I'm gonna get into a couple of standard questions because these are constant topics.
What are we just talking about? We're talking something pretty interesting.
Well, the evolution of radio, and then we got
with the podcast and that stuff. Yeah, because like I started doing on a camera show probably about 8 years ago, and everybody thought I was crazy. And like I was basically,
like
playing
YouTube or something.
What was it?
Were you on like YouTube doing a thing there? Or?
No, I was on Syndicate Radio. This guy Dino had it, and then I went to Stickum, and then we just took off on there. Like as soon as I went on, I would be put on the front page because when the numbers go up in the room, you get moved onto the page, and when you hit the front page, that's when fucking it's just mob. And we were basically ready. Hey, stop it, you two.
Live radio. So every once in a while, my dog will join in too. Don't worry about it. You still with me, Bob?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, live radio, and we got dogs. So there you go, listener. So, but I'm sorry. I just find it funny when it's not my dog, because my dog usually does stuff like that.
Well, what they were fighting over is my wife fucking left her jacket, I guess, on the chair or the table, and they took it off, and I don't know, I don't see a rip in it yet, but I'm sure I will, and now I'm going to get fucking blamed for this.
Not looking for. I totally understand this. Is that
but I tell her, I go, don't leave anything in their reach because they're going to get it. That's the way it is. I've had people come in here, girls come in here and do the show with me when I was doing a show back then with sandals on, right?
Right.
And they put them somewhere and they leave with half a sandal and they're walking out of the house with their fucking toes and foot hanging out.
Because they don't listen. You gotta understand, if it's down there, assume it's gonna get chewed. That's it. I got a dog that does that too. I got one that does and one that doesn't, which is pretty funny because it usually brings it to the other one and like smacks her in the head with the shoe or whatever else to try and get her to play with it, and she won't. But the other one is such a terror. Believe me, she does so much damage to anything you leave on the floor. So anybody who comes into my house, I got to have the same discussion.
Exactly.
If it's down there, it's going to get, if you care about it at all, staying in one piece, don't put it there.
Yeah, don't put it where they can get it. If they can get it now, I think I looked out and I seen one of the dogs with something pink in its mouth. So, and it's like a pink jacket she has, and she just got it, and she was bragging about it. So now I'm going to have to just throw it out and say, I don't know where it is.
Better hope she doesn't catch the download of this show. You bastard! I knew you know what happened to it.
Yeah, I've seen them, and that's why the dogs went at each other because they were right under here, and they had the jacket. I got the jacket now on top of the equipment. It's amazing.
I go through the same stuff, man. I got them. Sometimes they knock over tables while I'm on the air. You don't even know.
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's fun. That's why I say they're my producers. You know what I mean? Because they're there, and I'm not going to if they start barking, I'm fucking like, go fucking kill someone outside. I don't care. But what am I supposed to do? I do it from home. There's no better place to do it from. Yeah.
Exactly. And I broadcast from my home too. And every once in a while, you'll catch a baby scream, or you'll catch a dog bark, or
Yeah, but that's what happens when you have them in a crawl spot in the basement.
Well, that's the other thing,
Yeah. Sometimes you'll hear a hooker scream, but from the basement. But because I'm like that impale guy. I let him sleep underneath my bed so I can hear the crying at night. That was my favorite fucking thing I watched. I never knew that he was like that. Dracula was based on that guy.
Well, yeah, Dracula is based on a couple of different interesting figures in history, and one of them is Vlad the Impaler, who, ironically enough, there are people that try and trace the bloodline to George H.W. and of course W. Bush.
Are you serious?
Being related to and actually it sounds completely insane. I bet to you, but it seems pretty reasonable when you look at the people's documentation on this that they may actually be related to him.
Well, it does look like the work of a Republican. No,
it's a little too open-minded.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, I don't subscribe to either side of the political equation game, as it were. I'm very much in love with the statements made by people like, Bill Hicks and all that.
Mm-hmm,
you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from on this, I got no love for either side of the equation.
No, that's what it is. I just want somebody in there that can do a fucking job. I mean, today, two fucking of the bodyguards or whatever drove drunk through the fucking White House gate.
Yeah, well, another in a long line of serious questions about this elite Secret Service that's supposed to be protecting the president, right? These guys are buying hookers and getting blasted and getting in trouble and getting into car accidents and involved in all kinds of crap. And it's like, that's our elite, well-controlled, disciplined Secret Service,
And that's fucking scary, man. That just you know what I mean? Other countries are going, why not invade these fuckers?
That's one of the things that I say all the time is that, for the countries that say that, we're quite ignorant and we don't have our own, house in order and everything else. I mean, I used to think that was just anti-American sentiment, but when you take a look at what news comes out of this country, I mean, what do you expect them to think of us anymore?
But the whole thing is they should just fucking mind their own fucking business. That's the way I look at it. If you don't look, we were talking about yesterday on a podcast about how they want the American flag taken down these different religions. And I was like, fuck you. You leave the flag and you get the fuck out of here if you got a problem. You came here. You fucking got school here. You got, you know what I mean? You got a good life here. If you don't fucking like the rules, get the fuck out. That's just the way it is. You think you're going to pull that shit over in Iran? You're going to tell them take flight? They'll fucking cut your head off.
Yeah, well, there you go, man.
That's why I believe, you know what I mean, that we should just let our forces, take out ISIS and basically drop the bombs, put in the special units on the ground, and let them do their job without their hands being held behind their back, because we have the greatest men and women in the military, and their hands are tied, and I know that for a fact. So they can't shoot unless they get shot at. That's not war. Okay, you're putting up somebody to get killed.
Well, and look, I got no argument with the individuals that are involved in the military, but to me, I'm watching constantly how we, as our assets, are creating these enemies ourselves, and then turning around and attacking them. I mean, the Mujahideen became what is now called Al Qaeda. You know what I'm saying? This documented fact. We were arming these guys. We were arming Saddam Hussein, and then we had to take him out.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're dealing with fucking crazy people that live in caves, and all of a sudden they want to make it good. Then they get the power, and then they go back to evil.
Well,
You can't arm them. You got to fucking blow them up.
Well, but here's the thing, man. I used to think like you, but the more that I
So what,
discover,
you're not smart anymore?
ah, no, man, I was born damaged. Don't worry about that. I started out damaged, and believe me, I'll die a whole lot more damaged. But the thing is, what I discover over and over again is that we have created these problems
Yeah.
with the actions that we've taken. If generally speaking, we weren't the world's policemen, if generally speaking, we weren't running around and making sure that we had a military presence in, 95% of the existing nation states on the planet where we're not required to do it. I mean, we got troops in Europe for what reason at this point? We have troops all over the place for no apparent reason. And we're engaged in warfares which are generally bankers' wars, man. There's always, a financial gain to be had, and it's
oil and that shit. Yeah, we have enough oil here. We really do. In Philadelphia years ago, there was fucking oil mines all over. You know what I mean? So you got to figure if it was in Philadelphia fucking 40, 60 years ago. It's got to be all over. And Alaska, it's supposed to be all over the place. Fucking drill, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And do some fishing while you're drilling.
Quaker State oil came from the Quaker State, man.
I mean, it's here, but we don't want to drill? Come on, what the fuck? I mean, the gas price went down like 30 cents recently, and then all of a sudden it went back up. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they go, well, the price of the barrel. I go, what? What the fuck is a barrel? How big is this barrel? You know what I mean? They go by the barrel. What the fuck is that?
Well, what was amazing during that is that the price of oil dropped extremely rapidly. The price always goes up at the pump a whole lot more commensurate with the price that seems to be there. But when it starts to go down, you notice it drifts down a lot slower,
Yeah. But then it shoots. Yeah, it definitely shoots up. It'll go down 2 cents a day, 2 cents a day, and then it gets down like 20-something cents, 25 cents, and then it jumps up 10 cents, and then again it jumps up another 10 cents, and you're like, all right, thank God I was able to, fill up my car for $25, and now I'm back to 40.
Right.
You know?
And if a barrel of oil tomorrow went up to $1,000, okay, it would take 3 months for the actual gasoline supply to be affected by that price change.
Okay.
But when does it get affected on the pump? A day or two later, right?
Exactly.
So what they're doing is taking the oil that they've already bought for less and selling it to you for more for 90 days.
Hey, just look at all the money that these fucking oil companies are making, Mm-hmm. They are making billions upon billions of dollars. You can't fucking put gas at $1 and take a little less, you fucking greedy cocksuckers.
Well, and isn't that the bottom line, is that the larger corporation, especially in a country now where corporations are people, okay, legally speaking, I mean, you're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, corporations are people. Okay, fine. But, you notice that when corporations do evil shit and get people killed, the corporation doesn't go to prison, does it?
No.
So how much of a person is a corporation?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the whole thing. It's like, somebody's got to be in charge of going to a corporation and go, okay, this is ridiculous. Look at how much you're making. This can't happen. We're going to allow you this amount. And if you can't live on this, then fucking something's wrong with you. Because when is enough enough? It's like baseball and football. I mean, look at the payrolls. I mean, and who's paying for it? You can't go to it. You go to a Yankee game and sit up front. It's like $600 or $800 a ticket. And that's why the Yankees, if you watch a Yankee game on TV, you'll see nobody sitting there. You can't bring your kids to a game, a family of 4. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you can't afford to do any of that stuff anymore. I mean, the price on sporting events is astronomical, that's for sure. But I mean, even the simplest things out there, while your wages aren't going up that quickly,
exactly.
Try going to a movie theater.
Yeah.
right?
Oh my God, they fucking the fucking popcorn and the soda. I mean, I took my son there. I was like, "What the fuck?" I said, "Just here, I'll sell him."
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was like we got a big popcorn and one big soda, and I think it was like $18.
Yeah, I was gonna say like $20.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't give a fuck, but I'm saying, like, there's a lot of people out there that, once the economy is hurt like this, it's good when they lower the prices because more people go out for entertainment. Entertainment is the first thing people cut out. Do you understand? Because it's a luxury going to a comedy show, going to see. Are you going to go? You're going to go to Atlantic City and see the Who for $400? No.
Yeah, and for the same reason, this is why restaurants, are also very early casualties in a bad economy too, because look, you can eat at home.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's nothing like going out and just sitting down, and having somebody serve you and be nice to them, and I just don't understand people that are just like so rude. I mean, I see it at these places, and I just want to fucking like throw a butter knife at them like a fucking Chinese star in the back of the fucking neck.
Yeah, see, that's. I used to say that some places they don't just push for a tip, but like they get really hostile about tipping and things like that. And I mean, I'm not like a bad tipper or anything. I mean, standard wise, I mean, I always go like 20% on a general meal. You know what I mean? If somebody does something special, it goes up. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
like a hand job. But I'm
Yeah,
talking
right.
about like my wife thinks I'm crazy because I over tip because I know that the job that they're doing isn't they're not making a lot of money. I know a lot of people are stiffing them, and I've had at least 3 times where a waitress followed me, ran out the door to thank me,
Hmm.
and because any job like that. I take care of the people because I know that, you know what I mean? They're trying to support a family and they don't have it. If there's an old couple there, just do this, people. If an old couple's there eating, right? Just pull the waitress aside and go, here, I'm taking care of their bill. And just leave, you know?
Now,
Just do
when
something nice.
no, when I was doing better, that's the kind of thing I used to do. Like when a place was particularly busy and stuff like that, and I had it, I would turn around and I've had them chase me down because they thought I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because I gave them the bill, and I gave them the bill for a tip. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would always like hand it to them. And they go, "Let me get you change," and I go, "No, keep it." And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
I go, "You got to make a living, don't you?" And she's like, "Thank you so much because you don't." And they come clean. They go, "You don't know how some people tip here. They leave me like $1. People have no clue. They have no respect for other people but themselves. And you see it everywhere. Every store you go into, somebody's complaining on the line. Like, I want to listen to you complain. You know what I mean? Just fucking sit in the line and wait. Too bad, you know?
no, I hear you. And at the same time, I mean, there's also a general lack of respect on both sides of that equation, though, because I've seen people
Oh,
that are
yeah.
working in a store or something like that, and you ask them to do something that is part of their job, and they act like they're doing you a huge favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's bullshit. I don't go for that shit. And I'll
yeah,
say something, you know? Sorry I bothered you doing your job.
yeah, right. I
know,
mean,
but I am so good to all the workers and that shit because I know how hard it is. You know what I mean? You got to take care of your mailman. I mean, the poor guy comes through shit weather all the time. You know how it is here. And,
mhm.
at Christmas time, you always throw him some money. And I forgot this year, and I just went out one time and handed him money, like in the middle of January or near the end of it. I go, dude, I forgot. I'm sorry. And he just started laughing, you know?
Man, when I was doing well, I mean, I would tip the garbage man, the whole bit. I actually, but I would also get to know these guys too. You know, like I would catch them out in the morning and you know, and say, hey, you know, how you doing, whatever. And I knew they had a kid, they had a small kid or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'd turn around and put a little note, say like in, you know, a teddy bear in a box, put that outside, and the note would say, you know, for the guy, the one guy I remember well, his name was Hal, and he had a young kid at the time. I didn't have any kids,
Yeah.
so I put out like a teddy bear and a note. And in the note there was like I don't know, like $30 or something. This is a few years back, and it was like $30 was enough for like say him and his wife to go out. You know.
Yeah, yeah, just something like that, That's the whole thing. You leave a little note, go into the garbage man, go, hey, how about me and you in a hot tub at 7? I'll see you then.
Well, see, now that's the kind of thing you do because
I would do it as a goof.
Yeah,
That's
but
like Florentine is fucking known for doing stuff. That motherfucker did. You know what he did to me years ago? I guess years ago, you can call an escort service, right? And they would just send them to your room without any info or whatever from you.
that still happens, Bob.
Okay, but no check or money or credit card or anything.
Mhm.
And I hear a knock on my door, and I see this big black lady there, and I'm like, "What's up? What do you want?" And she goes, "You ordered me," and I'm like, "I ordered you," and I'm like, "No, I didn't." And she goes, "You called up and ordered an escort." I go, "No, I didn't." And she goes, "Well, I ain't leaving without my money." And I'm like, well, fucking, I ain't fucking you. Look at you. Jesus Christ, you look like William Refrigerator Perry. And fucking, I end up giving her $50. She leaves, okay? I call Jim's room. He answers the phone, just laughing like an asshole. That's what we do to each other.
And meanwhile, you had to pay $50 not to fuck the fridge.
Yeah.
All right.
Have fun. Yeah, Jim does this shit. He does this thing this is the favorite ones that he does. Two of the favorite things he does. He'll walk and he'll somehow scoot ahead of me a little bit when we're walking, and I'll go, "Excuse me, sir," and then I'm there, and and the guy's looking at me, and I just look at him and I just start laugh. You know what I mean? And he goes, "Excuse me, ma'am. You dropped something," and she's like, "What?" And I'm just, you know what I mean. We went once in a casino, and somebody dropped a chip, and Jim goes, "I seen it. It's behind that machine over there, and it's not even near there." You know what I mean?
Right.
And now we're all moving machines around, those fucking whatever the hell they were, and all over the place. Like, and he's like, "Oh, no, I think it's over there. No, there it is over there." And like everything is like all over the fucking place, and we're just fucking dying laughing. Because the people, you know what I mean? He goes, "I seen a chip fall." I don't even think the lady dropped it. I think he said, "I seen a chip fall."
I have a
And went
friend.
over there, and everybody was looking for it.
Good. Good. You cut off there for a second, so I thought you were leaving it there for a second.
No, you cut off, you fuck.
Ah,
I'm here.
well, that's all right. Well, you cut off too, so okay. Maybe the listeners will be able to tell. If you want to tell me in the chat room who cut off first, let me know.
You were telling the story, and then I didn't hear it.
No, it's okay. You said, well, then they found the chip, and that's all I heard. I didn't hear the rest of what you were saying around it.
Oh no, they didn't find the chip because it was never there.
Okay.
We just said that I seen a chip fall. One of the chips fell.
Oh, I get it now. Okay, so he said that a chip fell. He had everybody looking for it. Meanwhile, there was no chip.
There was no chips, and we're moving machines, and they're moving machines. And he goes, "No, I think it's over there." And it's just funny as shit.
Yeah. No, I like I was saying, I used to travel as a musician, and I know that one of them is probably listening right now who was there for this a couple of times, because this got done to me more than once. First of all, I got bad eyesight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to step away from me in a dark or smoky place or whatever and be able to pull shit on me.
Yeah.
So this is what they would do. They would wait, all night. We'd end up in some bar, usually some dive place that we weren't playing. I mean, we would be playing the dive down the street, but trying to promote another dive, right?
Yeah.
So we're in some dive joint or whatever, and they would find the skankiest, most beat-looking, horrifying, like,
Yeah,
makes you wonder if you really do want to be gay-looking female. Okay.
I know the feel. I know exactly where you're going.
Okay. So what they do is they go over to her and they go, "You see our friend over there? Well, he's a singer." And he's been talking about you now for the past hour, and he just thinks you are the hot. And they jack her all up, thinking that that I'm just been over there ranting and raving and drinking and trying to work up my courage to come over and talk to her because I think she's the hottest thing in the world. And meanwhile, a jack-o'-lantern with a trash bag on basically comes over and smiles at me. That's how I know it's a jack-o'-lantern, as best she can. And oh, you wanted to talk to me? And they just walk away laughing.
Yeah, if I was a meat salesman, I would.
Well, I'd like to find you, but I quit working for Freaks Magazine last month, so sorry.
Yeah. The funniest thing, we were in Canada at one time, me and Jim, and there was another comedian, but the strippers didn't want to fuck him, so he ended up like sleeping in the bathtub, so he wasn't in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were pulling out 2, 3 at a time, fucking hot. Nobody's there. Few Canadians with flannel shirts. We walk in there after a show, boom, we pull them to the room, right? It's fucking amazing. The guy that owned the fucking hotel, he thought we were fucking God. He was bowing to us because we'd walk them. We always walked women on the road past the front desk to show that they were having a good time in case they said something that was not true. You understand?
Right. This way you got a witness to verify that they weren't, being dragged against their will.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know how that game is played too.
Yeah, we did this in like 1992. We were doing this. So the last night we can't get anything. We're at a bar, right? I'm looking for Florentine. I look up and I see him with this big grin on his face and his arm around something, and which I thought was a cigarette machine, but it was a woman. Okay, so we get her back. We pulled a few trains on strippers. I mean, 11 or so, and that shit. It's not gay, no high fiving and shit. But
wait a minute. You're telling me that it's gay if you high five, but it's not gay if you don't?
No eye contact.
But that was my next question. What level of eye contact occurs here when we cross the gate?
12 and 6. You always had 12 and 6 position, so you're far away.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you would always say in that position. And one time he arced one, and it came at me slow motion, and I dove like a hand grenade was coming at me. And so Jim brings this big girl into the hotel. And, it wasn't to the front. We had our own entrance we were using. And all of a sudden, he starts making the choo-choo sound, the train. And I'm like, oh, no, we ain't. No fucking way, right? And in the morning, he wakes up, and now we are legends to the owner of the bar, restaurant, fucking hotel, right? So there's no way we can walk it to the front. Jim tells her, we're not allowed to have guests in our room, so I need you to get in my car and duck, and so we can get you out of here so we don't get in trouble. He had her duck in the car for 10 minutes. That's how fucking embarrassing she looked.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's gold like that makes it worth it. But I will hit up Jim and email me again your information. I'll get it to him because I got to get my shit done now, and I'll definitely come on again with you. Okay? I had a really good time talking to you, and I hope your people enjoyed me. But I definitely got to get some stuff done. But I definitely want to, anytime, buddy. I'm here. Okay.
Oh, absolutely, Bob. And I want to get more into some of the history behind what you do, and promote some more things. But do me a favor and just mention the name of your podcast and all that stuff. I put out the link for Bob, the BobLevy.com deal.
No, it's RevBobLevy.com. RevBoblevy. We're on Podomatic. We're on iTunes, which he's gonna fix tonight to put the direct link because nobody can find it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on Stitcher too, and it's another one nobody can find.
Right.
So basically, we should have that up tonight. And we're at episode 19 now. You can go back. If you look into it and you click so you can see inside of it, you can see who the guests are. Most of them have the guests written on it, but some don't. And because I think tonight's episode is Bob never says he's sorry, because I'll never apologize for anything I said or did, because I wouldn't have done it.
Right. I got you. Well, we'll get more into the history. And yeah, Rev Bob, I misspoke, and I just put the link in the chat room for everybody, RevBobLevy.com, and check his stuff out. And a lot of interesting history behind this man. But I'm really happy to have had John, and appreciate you telling the stories. But we got to get more into your stuff and what's going on now and everything. I kind of started off a little slow with you, but I never plan these things. You know what I mean?
No, it's cool, man. As long as your people are happy with it, I'm glad to come back, and I will definitely get the message over to Jim and whoever else you might like. Okay?
Oh, awesome, man. Well, I love comedians of a lot of different stripes. I mean, I was like a huge Sam Kinison fan. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys out there.
Well, you can't get him, okay?
No, well, maybe you can. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, like musicians. Maybe Rudy wants to come on. Because he's going to go on tour soon again.
I would absolutely love to talk to Rudy Sarzo. I mean, he's been part of a huge amount of iconic bands, and I would just. I don't know. I might be too tongue-tied to talk to Rudy, actually, but
yeah. But if you listen,
to talk to him.
If you look it up, you go down, you see the pictures and you hit each picture. And when you go to Rudy Sarzo, we do a 40-minute interview, and I don't think we curse once. Like, you know what I mean? He's just one of those. He tells us about Cuba. He's from Cuba, and all that shit, and how he didn't have a green card for the longest time, and he's traveling to Germany in that shit without it. That's when he got it, after they started yelling at him. They get very angry and loud, Germans.
Even if they're not angry and loud, they sound angry and loud.
Exactly. It's like, I made you dinner. Are you going to eat it?
Yes. Enjoy your dinner. Oh.
Hey, Charles, pleasure, my friend.
Listen, Thank you so much. Reverend Bob Levy and RevBobLevy.com. Check that out, and definitely, see him do his stand-up, too, because I'm telling you, we didn't really get into too many jokes or anything, but incredible stand-up comedian also, and multi-talented. I don't even know how to really describe him outside of that. But,
some people call me God. Just keep it as that.
Well, I'm not going to do that. But,
not down there, you can't.
Nah, but
here I do. But
I don't want to get strung up, and But really appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Hey, brother, a great time, and anytime, like I said, and I'll talk to Jim and Rudy. Okay, so just send me some more information, and and we'll go from there.
Great, man. Thank you so much.
You got it, buddy. You have a good one, and thank you guys for listening to me, and I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Have a good one, buddy.
You too. Take care.
Take care.
Yep. Reverend Bob Levy. So, I just kind of wanted to have a conversation with him. I really do like talking to comedians. They have a different perspective on the world. He's a little more, still in that left-right wing like so many other people are, and kind of trapped in the idea that we can still trust the government, I guess. But an interesting guy, a funny guy, and I like him. So there you go. I just kind of do what I want on here anyway. Don't worry, there will be more serious subjects coming up on the show, and the return of a couple of guests coming up very, very shortly. that people do like as well. Maria Heller, Rebecca will be on. That'll be a whole show devoted to the Israeli connection to 9/11, and also a discussion about the planes and what actually happened to the passengers. That one, you guys might enjoy. And hey, for Schmutzy in the chat room, by the way, Bob is from Jersey. Okay. Anyhow, who else? Oh, Joan Mellon. Joan Mellon will be back on toward the end of the month as well. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Maria Heller. Also got to do another show with Daniel Lewis Crumpton, but this one's going to be a real strange one. So, let us see what else we have on the agenda. I actually had somebody else planned that I was going to pull on, but I am seeing that they are not online. Rebecca is coming on. Rebecca will be on the 21st. Okay, that was an answer to a question in the chat room. Chuck, when's Rebecca coming on? Schmutzy, Rebecca will be on the 21st of this month. Okay. So, yeah, man, you can't hide the accent. That's true, too. Anyway, anybody wants to join into the discussion, you can call 718-717-8296. We are going to freestyle it for the next 50 minutes. I was going to try and have Kim come and talk with me for a bit, but I think she's kind of occupado. Let's see real fast. Okay. Oop, I hit my mute button. That's what I did just there a second ago. Hey, Kim, how you doing?
Good.
What's going on? Baby terror giving you some terror?
A little bit. I'm trying to write down a couple things and I'll be right out.
Oh, all right. Well, because Bob is already gone and done, so.
All right, give me 2 minutes.
No problem.
All right.
So, hopefully we'll get the segment together that I wanted to have, and I was planning on doing in the first hour, but grabbed Bob for the first hour instead, so I kind of backed myself up, and then, like I said, I had somebody else who was supposed to come in and join me, and Frankie's being a little bit uncooperative. I ought to play his theme song, but I'm going to save it for her show. Let's see now. What else do we have? Come on, Skype, cooperate. Let's see what we can do here. Maybe I'll get an update from Dylan, because you know what? I did forget the last time I was going to have him on, and then something didn't go quite right. And that would be cool to have Rudy Sarzo on, by the way. I don't know if you guys know who Rudy Sarzo is, but Rudy, like we were talking about, was the bass player in Quiet Riot and Ozzy Osbourne's original solo band, had also been in Whitesnake and Hurricane and a bunch of other bands. And Rudy's a cool guy, and I would love to talk to him about the fact that, you know, he's a Cuban immigrant and all that kind of stuff. But to just talk to him about, you know, sort of 80s rock history, as it were, that would be fun.
As it were.
Yeah, there it is with the as it were. Yeah, Bob Levy was saying that he would actually be able to get Rudy Sarzo to come on. You know who Rudy Sarzo is?
No.
Rudy Sarzo was the bass player in Quiet Riot.
Oh, okay.
And was also in Ozzy Osbourne's band.
Oh. Where are my headphones?
Oh, your headphones. I wasn't quite ready for your headphones. Where are they at? Well, I don't know, because they probably fell down when I had Francis in here earlier. Anyway, now I'm messing up my own headphones.
Well, just give me the earbuds.
Live radio, they would be harder to find than headphones. Here you go.
All right.
Make sure they're working.
All right.
Anyhow, back to it. Like I said, Rudy Sarzo was in Quiet Riot and all that, and also Bob Levy is actually friends with Jim Florentine too.
Mm.
So,
No kidding.
do we have a dog outside?
Oh.
Because I just
Hold
heard
on.
barking right
Excuse
close
me.
to here.
Too many
What's that?
four-legged freaks around here.
Yeah, four-legged creatures giving me a headache. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, dude, for the message on Skype, if you want to call in, call in. But I don't have the time nor the patience to go over your comments. So if you want to call in, just call in on my Skype, and I will add you into the discussion. Let's see. Might add Dylan in too. So, was Willow outside?
Yeah, it was Willow.
All right.
But it's the other dog.
Was she on the front porch?
Not anymore.
Did you get that?
Oh.
Okay. No problem. See, I'm kind of stuck, immobilized at the moment. So it is what it is. There we go. That damn dog next door was barking while I was on, and I was hoping people couldn't hear it.
Oh, I heard Francis.
I don't think they can hear Frankie too well.
Good thing.
Yeah, especially not right now. They might hear him now though, because he's being a little rough. But
Right.
anyway.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
So, like I said, Jim Florentine. That would be nice.
That would be.
I told him, I said, I've been trying to get Florentine to come on the show. I mean, I've messaged him a few times. He said, well, you should go through Facebook. And I said, well, I have. And he said, you know what? Run your information to my email again, and I'll mention it to Jim myself.
All right.
So I was like, cool.
Very cool.
And I reminded people that Jim Florentine, of course, is the guy who did Crank Yankers. And that means that the guy who goes, I got mail! Yay! That guy.
That's what you do to me.
That's special. I only do that to you once in a while. That's not nice. Shouldn't tell people I
That's
do that
because
to
I
you.
get excited when I get mail.
No, you get excited when you have ice cream.
And ice cream. Mm-hmm. So who do we have in our chat room where we can discuss a few news stories I was able to pick up while the baby was screaming his head off? Who we have? We have Schmutzies in there. I got Anon 1560. What's going on? How are ya? Captain's around. Cracker, where's my Hopper?
Oh, I think Hopper's around. I'm going to grab Dylan.
Does he know I'm on?
No.
Oh.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Chuck, what's up?
Well, not much. I had 1 hour and 10 minutes with Bob Levy, and then second hour guest did not show up, so I've grabbed Kim. We're going to go over a couple of news stories real quick, but we're just sort of open lining it here.
Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Kim.
How's it going?
Good. Sorry I didn't make it to the round table. Computer crashed.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, it was a pretty good conversation.
Yeah, second
Next
hour
time.
turned out really, really well.
Yeah, next time join in.
Yeah, there's always this Saturday,
I will.
Dylan.
Probably will.
Stop meeting this way. The couple news stories that I did grab up while I was out there, one of them pertains to where we used to live, that some insurance companies are being investigated for not properly compensating Hurricane Sandy victims.
Well,
like
that's
144,000 claims.
144,000 claims of
Yeah.
Hurricane Sandy victims that are not being handled properly by the
Correct.
insurance companies. Well, isn't that interesting that we're still looking at them being compensated?
Well, how many years ago was that?
That's
now?
a couple years
4?
now. That's
Yeah, no, like two.
Was it like
Maybe three.
Almost
Three
three.
at the most.
almost 3. It was 20.
Yeah, I think it happened in October 2013. I remember I was going home from Philly when it came through.
Well,
I know,
that has
I
to be
wanted
2012.
To go trick-or-treating and I couldn't.
It has to be 2012, though, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that's.
It's either October 2012 or October 2013.
Well, you know what we'll do?
Are you Googling?
I'm not Googling. I do not Google.
Oh, you Yahoo.
I will Yahoo this.
Chuck tells me often about the conversations you have together regarding your history class, Dylan. I find that to be quite entertaining.
Well, yeah, because we cover it on the show,
Yes.
and I love that.
Often.
Do you have new ones, Dylan?
Do I have new ones? One.
You have one. Okay. Let's just we'll familiarize the listener with this really quickly. And that is that what happens is, Dylan is a high school student, first of all, 16 years old. Okay. So he's in a history class, and they often discuss current events and history. And there is sort of like a free discussion time that seems to occur during his classes. I don't know if it's part of the structure or not, but it always
Not
seems to
really.
lead. It always seems to lead to an exacerbated teacher, Dylan, being accused of something terrible, and insane notions being passed around as if they're legitimate, making me thusly worry quite a bit about the next generation coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
A quick, for instance, and I do believe my all-time favorite, is that suddenly Barack Obama is directly involved with the genocide of black people.
And they want to vote for him again.
I'm sorry?
And they want to vote for him again.
And they still do believe that they should vote him back in 2016. So when you put that together and then combine it with the fact that the Republican Party took over the Congress with the assistance of extraterrestrials who are also involved in the genocide of all black people, and you then combine it with the idea that you might be able to use your cell phone on Mars, and
there are talking apes there too.
And there are talking apes, just like in Planet of the Apes. There are talking apes there. And
is there a McDonald's?
There
I don't know.
They'll put a McDonald's on
There
Mars.
just might be a McDonald's there.
McDonald's.
I
that
say it.
Me up when I heard that.
Yes,
McDonald's.
I have to say it like that because everybody around here says McDonald's.
Well, Dylan, I have a question for you.
Well, wait.
Let him. You have a story.
Yeah,
okay,
let him. I set up his story with all that.
All right then.
So before I get sidetracked and stupid,
forgive me. This is not my show.
No, I actually control this show. So
it's fairly. This is a fairly quick one. We were watching a documentary about Hawaii, the last king and queen of Hawaii.
Okay, wait a minute. Normally you have a video presentation which features some of the current events and things, right? So is this during your current event feature or your history?
No. History, because we're taking the park test, which I opted out of. And my history teacher wanted to take it easy on us, so he just put on a documentary.
Ah, so this was educational filler for the day, as it were.
Yes. And he left 5 minutes for discussion.
Oh. What a sucker. Because he always, and I always have to ask you what condition your teacher is in afterwards. If I was him, I would have to select the option of becoming an alcoholic after dealing with this class. But
I think deep down, I think he enjoys it because he always gives us discussion time. I think he enjoys it deep down.
He's pretending to grab a pencil off the floor. He's actually taking a big swig out of his flask.
Well, okay. So I shudder to think what's going to happen here. So they tell you in this movie probably, or he decided to tell you, that Hawaii is in fact a state of the United States, right? Although
yes, that was a big subject of debate. Some students said, no, Hawaii is Japanese.
Well, although some of your classmates do believe that there are 60 states in the Union somehow, yes. So it was acknowledged at least that Hawaii was a state, although they had to argue about it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's alarming.
Yeah.
I think that, Chuck, I think this is my favorite one yet.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm now going to shut up. I'll let you explain it, but I just wanted to make sure we set it up good.
So in the documentary, they show pictures of the king and queen of Hawaii. And afterwards, I don't know if this was sarcastic, but the other comments in this class make me think it's not. Somebody said, Obama's the reincarnation of the queen of Hawaii. Look, their noses are similar.
Obama is the reincarnation.
That's pretty funny.
First of all, I want to say this. The statement just made by Dylan Wade does not reflect those who are affiliated with the Ochelli effect.
Or me. Or me.
Dylan Wade himself, Kim Ochelli, or anyone listening who is not really, really high at the moment. So,
even if you are high.
Even if you are high.
Who's high?
Nobody.
Oh.
Nobody.
Even if you're high at the moment, this doesn't reflect your own thoughts.
Oh.
I'm just screwing with anybody who's baked. All right.
I got you.
Good. So wait a minute. Barack Obama is the reincarnation of the Queen of Hawaii, the former Queen of Hawaii, because they have the same nose.
They don't even no. They do look similar. I'll give them credit, but that doesn't mean that it's the reincarnation.
Wait a minute, Dylan. What are you saying? All people of color look alike?
Ooh.
No, the pictures were in black and white.
Oh, okay. So all black and white pictures. Okay, I got you.
Dylan, how many times a day while you're sitting in class do you scratch your head and say WTF to yourself?
I wish I could scratch my head to do that, but I do say WTF a lot to myself.
All right.
That's not just in my history class. My history class is by far the worst one, but there are a couple close seconds.
No, I've heard about the stories in your English class and stuff. They're
Oh.
pretty bad, but the history class is the king.
See, this is why I'm an advocate for homeschooling.
I don't think the school is the reason these kids are like this.
No.
No, they seem naturally stupid.
Well, not necessarily. Look, vaccinations, GMOs being dropped on your head. Something has caused them issues. Let's just be kind and call it an issue with logical, reasonable, or relatively real thought.
My goodness.
Okay.
My goodness.
No.
I think that's my favorite one yet. I really do.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, it's got a lot of competition. You know,
It does.
to Mars, pretty bad.
But if it were one kid, it would have just been a normal day. I think I was the only one in the class arguing reason.
Okay.
Dylan, I was told to tell you that the people in the chat room love you.
Wow, they like somebody?
They love you.
No, they only hate me, Dylan.
Sorry, I was under the impression they hated everybody who came on.
No, they hate me. Right now, I have 1/3 of the people present in the chat room that Kim usually does. You know, and I mean, just automatically.
Oh, okay, good. So I'm not hated.
No, you're apparently not hated among those who hate my guts for some reason. So,
For some reason.
well, you pick a reason, you know.
Yeah, but no, my history class, I hate it. I hate it.
Well, okay, let's examine this reincarnation of the Queen of Hawaii thing really quickly. You know, because of course they had to make him the queen. But
I noticed that.
because Michelle would be the king, maybe.
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 Yikes.
Anyway.
Oh, they love you too, Chuck.
Oh, an anonymous person, because nobody wants to admit to that, because they'll take too
What
much
a pretty
abuse.
red heart.
Well,
We love you long time.
here we go.
They must know I'm on the air.
Thank you, Captain Gringo. See, now they're going to be playful and nice because you're here. Okay. Thanks,
Yeah, that's
people.
funny.
All right.
I just got into the chat.
There you go. So now you can see this stuff. All right. So let me ask you this. Based on the structure of Barack Obama's nose and the Queen of Hawaii's nose, they think that he is the reincarnation, or is there more to it, Dylan?
No, nothing more to it.
That's it.
I wish there was something else to it.
And
this is what we have to look forward
And
to.
the-
taking
and
care
how
of
many-
when we're old.
well, wait a minute. Now, sometimes there's only a contingent of 3 or 4 of them that are insistent on these things.
We had about 7 people in the classroom.
Okay, only 7 altogether, and usually about half of them are completely out of their minds with this stuff. What was the percentage?
The other reasonable one wasn't there, so I was the only one arguing reason.
Nice.
Oh, that's always difficult.
Did you get called any names this time?
I got called the reincarnation of the guy who tried to have her assassinated.
Oh, okay. Did your nose match his?
I don't know. They didn't even show it.
Oh.
So what is their evidence for calling you the reincarnation of the assassin?
What evidence is there that I support genocide?
No reason that you support genocide. You're just a genocidal maniac, Dylan. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's just a statement of fact. But what about the reincarnation thing? I mean, what evidence do they have for that?
None.
Okay, I just figured.
None. None.
Wow. Hey, did you have Liam Sheff on your show yet?
I was supposed to have him on yesterday. 10 minutes before I went live, my internet crashed for about 40 minutes.
Oh.
Because nobody was home and my internet crashed, so I was kind of stuck. So, no, we rescheduled for next week.
He's a character. You'll have a good time with him.
Yeah, he is.
Interesting guy. The Liam Sheff show is on Sundays here on UCY. A check of the schedule. Okay. Dylan, of course, does The Truth Speaks, by the way. I do forget to mention that on occasion, Dylan, because I'm just a jerk. But the thing is that The Truth Speaks is something that you can find Dylan under. Alrighty. And just do a search on that. You'll find him on various networks and also on YouTube. And what's going on with your independent network, by the way?
We're still in the pre-stages. We have 2 shows launched. The other ones are taking their time.
Well,
it's getting very aggravating to have 6 hosts not getting anything set up.
Yes, enjoy herding cats, my friend.
No, it's not as difficult. It's not as difficult as getting my class to see Reason. So,
well, what could be? So, Kim, did you have any other news stories that you were looking at, or?
Yeah, I wrote them down. There's 2 police officers that were ambushed in Ferguson.
Oh yeah, what about that?
Yeah, so they have a couple people that they're questioning.
Yeah, speak up a little bit.
Sorry, a couple people that they're questioning about that. But I didn't get the whole drift of the story because, again, I had a screaming voice in my head, which I don't know how anybody.
Was it Chuck?
No, it's little Chuck.
Oh, let's be fair now. He looks a lot more like you than he does me.
So I'm not. I don't even know when it happened, but apparently these officers were ambushed.
I think yesterday.
Was it yesterday? And the feds are coming in to control the protests.
Well, that's an obvious necessity at this point. I mean, if you're going to have continuous, counter attacks on one side of that equation or another, eventually something is going to have to be done because you can't just have complete lawlessness. Gee, is everybody still happy with supporting, Darren, what's his name now? Wilson, was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten about this at this point because it's just become irrelevant. In my mind,
it's become the same. It's become the same as all the others. But what did you or I expect? Didn't you say that on your show? It would become like all the others, and we wouldn't remember it in a year.
That's what I did say, didn't I?
Well, the New York police officers are being retrained how to subdue a suspect by gouging their eyes out.
Ooh.
Instead of putting him in a chokehold, we're just going to poke your eyeballs out of your head.
Yeah, well, that's a lot.
I can't imagine how that can go wrong.
Well, right. I mean, perfectly sound strategy, right?
But now I saw something. I hate to always reference Facebook, but I happened to be on that, and they showed a post about a guy in, I guess it was in Germany, was wielding around some sort of weapon, and the officer shot him in the knee and subdued him. And, right. it was fine. And then you have our officers here who aren't capable of subduing a subject in the same manner. We shoot to kill instead of, to maim, or at least maybe not maim, but to stop them. There's no reason to put 20 bullets into somebody's back who's running away.
But Kim, you're trying to use reason.
Well, I do try to do that occasionally. It does usually backfire and punch me in the stomach, but
it backfires everybody who uses it.
But to gouge somebody's eyes out, I mean, what? I don't know. To me, that just seems a little medieval.
Well,
why don't you
Our justice system has become medieval.
That is true. That is true. But there wasn't a whole lot in the news that I was able to catch up on because it is difficult to do that when I'm trying to shove
Yeah,
cheese
it can
doodles
be.
into the baby's.
There was one interesting one.
What?
Sure.
The Iran situation.
Well, now which part of it?
The Congress sending a letter to Iran.
Okay.
Did you guys miss that one?
I briefly caught it. I mean, I was still trying to play catch up on the Netanyahu statement and all that good stuff.
It was mostly clapping. Did you figure that out?
Yeah, I did, actually. I was quickly reminded of the ovation that was given to Robert Kennedy when he showed up at the Democratic National Convention after his brother's murder, which was, this very long, like 20-minute standing ovation. And I thought to myself, well, gee, it takes that many Palestinians to get a standing long-term ovation for this guy. But anyway, that's a weird sort of parallel I was drawing. But
47 senators sent a letter to the Ayatollah of Iran saying after Obama leaves office, any peace deal they strike can be basically gotten rid of or changed.
So don't listen to the black president because we'll have a new real one soon. Nice.
Yes, and essentially. And then a White House petition got started to charge them for treason. It got 173,000 signatures in a day.
Well, that means that Obama has to consider it because once you go over 100,000 signatures, right?
Now, how come the
petition
he
has
that
to
was
respond.
floating around for the vaccinations to not be legalized or forced upon, rather, that petition somehow got frozen and lost, and people couldn't sign it?
I don't know about that. I thought I still had that. Let me check.
Well, they did. It finally came back.
Yeah, it's apparently gone up and down and up and down, right?
Well, March 6th, I think, was the deadline, and I do believe, from what I was told, that they reached enough signatures for it. So I signed it.
So is the freezing of the website going to be blamed on North Korea?
Perhaps. Well, Seth Rogen has to release another crappy movie, doesn't he? Or get ready to?
He released another crappy movie?
Well, he would have to.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Well, the interview sucked. I'm sorry. It sucked.
It did. It did.
Hey, Dylan, have you heard Frankie's theme song yet, by the way, since we brought him up like 5 times?
No.
All right. Do me a favor. Mute up for like...
I haven't.
Well, do me a favor. Mute up for like 45 seconds. And I'll play Frankie's theme song real quick here, okay?
Okay.
What'd you think of that?
That was awesome. That was funny.
He's jamming.
You like that?
I do.
Hey, he recorded it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I thought so. So, Dylan, no other crazy stories from the history class, huh?
We had 3 days of documentary. I may have something tomorrow.
Oh, boy. What were the documentaries on?
It was all about Hawaii.
What is the deal with Hawaii in your history class this week?
I guess it was the only documentary he could find.
Nice. Nice. You know, I wanted to teach you about other stuff, but this is all I had. I don't see how that teacher is not just, you know,
Because he's tenured.
drinking at lunch. It's not
No,
his fault.
no, he's no,
Yeah.
he's a new teacher, and it's really not his fault. It's not. As much as I'd like to blame it on him, it's not. He tries.
Yeah, well, you can only try so
It
hard.
just doesn't work.
Yeah,
Ever.
that's true.
You know, you can try and
Yeah,
teach your pet
you
rock.
can. Yeah, you can only try so hard.
Right, you can try and teach your pet rock to roll over and play dead, and you can work at it real hard for many years. It doesn't mean that it's gonna get done. Ah, yeah. So, what else you got coming up on the Truth Speaks, by the way? Because I never do ask you what's coming up, except I've, you know, promoted Liam Sheff a couple of times.
Currently, Liam Sheff is the only person I have on my schedule. He's on Tuesday. I'll have somebody scheduled for Wednesday, probably by the time I'm on your show next. But I actually follow you up on Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You are on right after me. Which network is that?
PIR.
PIR, People's Internet Radio, which is kind of interesting. Although they threw Jillian off of there.
They did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, I don't want to discuss
they did.
why, but
When?
they bounced Jillian off of there a couple weeks ago.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got a message from her last week about it. They threw somebody else off, too.
Oh, really?
Well, that kind of sucks.
Anybody that I've run across, or?
No, one of Jillian's friends.
Oh, well, you know how it is, guilt by association, right?
Yeah, surprised they haven't tried to go after me yet.
Well, nobody wants to go after you, Dylan, because, you're so, like, calm and all.
Yeah, I'm calm.
Except
in that history class.
Yeah, well, what did you say to them, by the way? I want to get into this a little more. What did you say to them about this whole the nose fits so you cannot acquit? I mean, what did you say?
I went on my computer, I turned it towards them, and I showed them a mental disorder that people have when they see somebody who looks similar to somebody else in modern times and think they're the same person.
Nice. And how was that greeted?
First, they had to ask me how to pronounce it.
What was the
Which was
disorder?
kind of entertaining.
What was the disorder's name?
I actually can't remember.
Are you going to make me Yahoo this?
I'm going to make you Yahoo this.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make me Yahoo this, I understand, but I mean, All right.
I'm probably going to butcher. It if I try to, and then they asked me, "Wait, are you saying we all have mental disorders?" They had to clarify.
Mm-hmm. So what'd you say?
Yes, you're all psychotic.
You're all psychotic. Well, were they psychotic or were they just simply delusional?
Those two things go hand in hand.
Well, yeah, but you can be psychotic without being delusional or delusional without being psychotic. It is possible.
I guess. I don't know if they're delusional or psychotic. I mean, how can you think there are aliens taking over voters' minds and apes on Mars with phones and cars and be anything but psychotic?
Wait, apes with bone? Oh, phones, right. Okay,
Phones.
The cell phone thing. I thought you said apes with phones. I don't know. He tried to show them a mental disorder that people had. Kim stepped away from the mic, so a mental disorder that people have where they think that someone in modern times looks like someone from history. And
thinks they're the same exact person.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, of course, he was not greeted fondly with that,
I'm sure.
Well, I was greeted perfectly fine until they figured out I was calling them crazy.
Mm.
It took them a minute.
Well, good on them. I would have thought it would have taken them quite a few minutes.
Yeah, we're seeing improvements.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is a market improvement, right?
Yes, yes, in the same. Yeah, I guess. Hey, at least they're not calling me genocidal or. Yeah, at least they're not calling me a genocidal maniac / terrorist / Russian sympathizer / ISIS sympathizer / Iranian sympathizer.
Good grief.
Did we discuss the Iranian thing?
We started to about the letter, so why don't you talk a little
No,
bit
no,
about...
I mean the discussion in my class
No,
last week.
no, go right ahead. I'm looking for this mental disorder, by the way.
I'll look it up. I'll look up the name and I'll send it to you tonight.
Well, that's not going to do us any good for while I'm on the air here. So, but go ahead.
No,
What was the Iranian discussion about, and how did that start? Were you watching yet again another film?
no, my history teacher brought it up. I don't remember in what context.
Oh boy.
But somebody said, I read online once Iran has a space base and they're going to drop a space laser on the U.S. and then they're going to colonize it.
A space laser on the United States and then colonize the ground which they have just used a space laser on. Is that right?
Yes. Correct.
Okay. What? How did the space
Chuck, why do you do that? Why do you do it?
I'm just wondering, how did the Star Trek style phaser weapon get involved?
My history teacher just started talking about Iran, and then one kid said, "Aren't they trying to get nukes so they can blow up the world?" And then somebody else said, "No, they have space lasers. They're going to blow us up tomorrow and then colonize us."
Oh, I see. So that was the response to what we're going to do about them because of the whole nuclear weapons issue, or...
Yeah, and somebody was basically saying, "Well, it doesn't matter because they have space lasers and they're going to blow us up, and this is just a ploy so the Russians can do something with ISIS and the Chinese can do something with something."
Okay. I just pulled up... okay, let me see if I can explain this really quickly here.
Did you find it?
Well, I went to Listerverse and picked up 10 of the more incredibly bizarre mental diseases and wanted to see if any of these fit really quickly. Let's see. Synesthesia. Would that be it?
I don't know.
Okay, synesthesia is a neurological phenomenon in which stimulation of one sensory or cognitive pathways leads to automatic, involuntary experiences in a second sensory or cognitive pathway. In other words, numbers can be perceived as having color, or words such as the days of the week can be perceived as having personalities.
I think some of my classmates have that.
Okay, well, synesthesia would be applying characteristics to something that it doesn't belong to, so that's almost on the track.
They applied characteristics to a nose.
Nice. Yeah, but it doesn't quite work that they're saying, like, the nose is explosive in nature, something like that. That would be bizarre. Okay.
Well, the apes on Mars.
Yeah, but that's still a break from reality, much akin to a psychosis. So, okay, let's see. Onion mania is a compulsive desire to shop. No good. Okay, no. Trichotillomania. Trichotillomania or trick or trich, I think. As it is commonly known, is an impulse control disorder or form of self-injury characterized by the... No self-injury here. Let's see.
There might be self-injury involved, just not in the sense it's thinking.
Well, yeah, and not necessarily in the classroom. I mean, I imagine if you bang your head up against a brick wall before school about 5 or 6 times, you might have this problem. Okay.
Well, no, the history teacher probably bangs his head. Well, actually, the history teacher does bang his head against the desk.
Yeah, and you don't know how much he's banging his head at home. He might be quite the headbanger. Okay. And I don't mean metalhead. All right. Pibocato. Okay. Or Arctic hysteria is a condition exclusively appearing in Eskimo societies. Okay, no good. Dissociative identity disorder.
That's it.
Dissociative identity disorder is a disease formerly known as multiple personality syndrome.
What?
Yeah, multiple personality syndrome. It is a condition in which a single person displays multiple distinct identities or personalities known as alter egos or alters, each with its own pattern of perceiving and interacting with the environment. Nope.
I really thought that was it. Why am I doing so badly with this?
I don't know. Nymphomania. Nope, that's not it. Okay, moving on. Depersonalization. Maybe this is it. Depersonalization is a strange disorder in which the sufferer feels that they are living in a dream world, or it is the feeling of watching oneself act while having no control over a situation. So those out-of-body experiences when somebody, commits a murder and they watch themselves do it. Okay. Wow, this is funny. Jumping Frenchman of Maine is number 3. This one should probably win the award for just having a bizarre disorder, but for having a bizarre name. Jumping Frenchman of Maine is a rare disorder, first described in 1878. An individual with this disorder has a genetic mutation that prevents exciting signals in the nervous system from being regulated, which causes a number of bizarre irregularities in their startle response. Most notably, an event which might startle a normal person will result in an extended, grossly exaggerated response from a jumper. Well, Jumping Frenchman of Maine. Nice. That's the name of the disorder.
That's amazing. Can you bookmark that?
I sure can, and being that I am all for naming diseases after anything French, I am more than happy to bookmark that for you, sir. Okay. Yes. In case you're playing catch-up out there, I have a distinct and profound hatred for French people. Don't know why, and it's totally unreasonable. It's almost like a phobia, but it's a hatred instead of a fear. Okay. This is not safe for work viewing. Okay. Wow. Okay. Coprolalia. Coprolalia. All right. Okay. Coprolalia. Oh, this sounds like Tourette's syndrome. It is the involuntary swearing or involuntary utterance of obscene words or socially inappropriate and derogatory remarks that should not be confused with Tourette's syndrome. It sounds like it, though, which is usually signified by physical and vocal tics, not coprophilia's involuntary outbursts, such as, coprophilia also has involuntary outbursts like racial or ethnic slurs in the company of those who are offended by such remarks. Can be particularly embarrassing to the sufferer. The faces do not necessarily reflect the thoughts. And meanwhile, there's this whole thing about how it's not really what they think, but they have to blurt it out anyway.
I know a couple kids who might have that.
Wow. Wendigo psychosis. This is the number 1 on this weird list. Okay. Wendigo psychosis is a mental disorder in which a person intensely craves human flesh and thinks they're turning into a cannibal.
Oh. Well, if they think they're turning into one, they probably are turning into one.
Despite an abundance of healthy food available. The most common response among the Aboriginal communities in which Wendigo psychosis was most prevalent was curing attempts by traditional native healers or Western doctors in the unusual cases when these attempts failed and the Wendigo sufferers began either to threaten those around them, okay, began either to threaten those around them. Let's see. Oh, I lost my place because this stupid thing popped up and I had to get rid of it. Now I lost my place. In the unusual cases, it failed. So say, okay, they were generally okay. Began to threaten those around them or act violently or antisocially. They were then generally executed, which some have denied the existence of this disorder. There are a number of credible eyewitness accounts, both by Aboriginal communities and by Westerners, that prove that Wendigo psychosis is a factual, historical phenomenon.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I was hoping to find it among the bizarre list of stuff, but
Yeah, I was hoping to find it too.
let's see. Mental disorder. Okay, let's see now.
Identity mix-up mental disorder.
Well, let's try this. Mental disorder person resembles historical figure. Let's Yahoo that. I hope to find it by the time I run out of time here, because I only got like 3 minutes left. But let's see.
It'll be kind of disappointing if we don't.
Yeah.
People in the chat room, please help us because we probably won't be able to find it.
Historical
in 3
figures,
minutes.
creativity and mental illness, people with mental illness in history quiz, historical figures with diagnosable mental disorders, celebrities and historical persons with mental disorders. Yeah, chat room, do you guys know what the disorder is? I would love to see that.
I know. I don't know what it is, but I know it is.
Can you give me a clue as to what it begins with? I mean, help me out here.
I am having a mental lapse.
Okay, let's see. Let's try mental disorder, identity confusion. See, because my bumper is going to come on real quick here, and I know that I'm not going to get to this. It's just going to happen. Of course, the first thing that comes up is gender identity confusion, dissociative disorders. You seem to think that dissociative disorder might have something to do with it. Let's see, normalizing dissociation. Let's see, dissociative identity disorder. Is that possibly? No, that's the multiple personalities again. Okay, confusion symptoms. I need to know what the symptoms are to confusion. You know, if you're really confused and you're looking up the symptoms to confusion, you might not be able to understand what's going on because you're confused. Okay. All right, excuse me. Borderline personality disorder, gender identity disorder. They want to themselves calling that a disorder. Might be a problem.
A non-1560 dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, that's multiple personality disorder, unfortunately. No. Well,
I'll look for it and I'll send you a message with it next time I'm on with you.
Well, do that because I will.
We'll repeat the story.
Yeah. Of course, psychology is a farce. Thank you. Whoever just said that, I believe it was Jane. And you're correct. The entire mental health industry, including the large pharmacological side of it, the big pharma, and there I go tripping over my tongue. Thank you very much.
Hey, you've only done it once.
No, I did it earlier too, so we actually got 2 in. Don't jinx me. I won't hit the 3rd one this time.
You hit 4 last time I was on with you.
Thanks a lot. Hey, how about that debate, Dylan? When is that kid coming back? There you go. I got you. Anyway.
I don't know when he's coming back. I'm ready when he does.
All right. Listen, before the bumper kicks in, I want to thank Reverend Bob Levy. Go to RevBobLevy.com. Check him out. He's a funny guy. He's a crazy guy. His son's a musician now. Interesting dude. You might have heard him on the Howard Stern Show before and various other places, Opie and Anthony, etc. just a funny guy, and really appreciate his time. I will have him back on. Want to thank Dylan for joining me, Kim for joining me, and I want to thank...